Confirmation then of a fourth Italian Grand Prix for Michael Schumacher. Only Nelson Piquet can match that. Juan Pablo Montoya second, 8 points for him. Rubens Barrichello third. Kimi Räikkönen fourth in the McLaren. Marc Genet deservedly Martin's driver of the day in fifth place. Villeneuve, 3 points for him in the BAR, very welcome indeed. Mark Webber getting a couple for Jaguar, and Alonso, all sorts of problems, but at least he made his point. And just 3 points in it with 2 races to go. Montoya still putting the heat on Michael Schumacher. Räikkönen has dropped away a little bit, but he still can't be discounted. Ralf Schumacher, of course, did not race today. Barrichello has gone above Alonso by dint of more third-place finishes, I believe. David Coulthard, 45 points, and Trulli, who went early, stays on 24. And Williams staying on top of the Constructors' Championship. That is so important for them, and they'll give Marc Genet a very big pat on the back for that as well. 4 points clear of Ferrari. McLaren third place on 120. Renault look destined for fourth, don't they? And in that big scrap further down, BAR have 18, Jaguar 17, Toyota 14, Jordan have 11 points, and Sauber have 9. Let's just have a look at the start of the race, shall we? And it was obvious to me, Mark, I mean, Montoya, he was desperate to get in front, and he very nearly did it.
He very nearly did, but yeah, what a great scrap down to the first corner it was. You see him leave the line here. We thought there might be a little bit more energy coming out of the Williams, but the big mishap was at the back there, where there was a car up on 2 wheels, the wrong 2 wheels being at the rear, airborne. But Schumacher then, just watched the replay here, look, big hit there, big impact. One of the Minardis out straight away. Schumacher leads into the first corner. There was no issues for him at all, but this is where Montoya made some ground here. Under braking, comes into that second chicane, gets the inside line, thought he might have it tucked away, but Schumacher just fought back. Great piece of driving by both of them, very clean. Thought it was going to happen again the next corner, but that was the end of the race really at that point.
Alonso and Verstappen down the back, wasn't it? Was it just simply a case of the Ferrari having too much grunt today?
No, I think it was so close. I think it was one had chosen downforce as opposed to high speed, which Ferrari had gone for, backing everything off, relying on the grip of the tyres through the chicanes. There was nothing in it, and we saw this fascinating contest as Montoya closed in and then the Ferrari pulled away again. It was a battle of the giants.
Let's go straight to the press conference.
Third place to Ferrari's Rubens Barrichello. Second place for BMW Williams Juan Pablo Montoya. And scoring his 5th win of the year for Scuderia Ferrari Marlborough, Michael Schumacher. Michael, this is almost an historic day for you. This is your 50th win also for Ferrari.
Yeah, I think there is many things that come together here. It's quite a while ago we won the last race, first of all. We had tough races behind us where not winning, but we failed scoring the points we were thinking to score. And then we had all this summer break and a big push in the team, in the factory, everywhere. Everyone really over the top motivated and giving more than 100% of work, and that's something which is unbelievable. I was able to pay back a little bit with the pole position yesterday, but I think this is one of my greatest days in my career, honestly. And I'm so thankful to everybody in the team, because those guys, they have done a tremendous job. Everybody from the test team, every engineer in the factory, down to the lady who is doing the cleaning job. Everybody is just so fantastic. I'm so in love with all those guys. Just big thank you.
Well, by the end, it was a pretty decisive victory for you, but that opening lap was something to remember as well.
Yeah, it was tight already in the first corner. I had a lock-up into the first corner and almost didn't make the chicane. I had the option to go straight on or make the chicane in a sort of not very good way. I thought it's better to do the chicane, although may lose a position, which almost happened then, because Juan came on the outside, and we had a nice fight through these 2 corners. Very, very hard, but fair, and I think that's what the people love to see. And in the end, I was able to win that fight for me and run up the lead, which was vital to win the race.
Yes, you got a bit of a gap before that first stop, but in the second stint, Juan Pablo got very close to you.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the second stint didn't look as good for us, a little bit better for Juan. But still, we were obviously leading, and in the final stage of even the second stint, I was able to just open up a little bit of a gap because the the thing came just back a little bit into my hand, and I think that was crucial. Obviously, then Juan thought to come in early to use the opportunity with his first couple laps to get in front of me. But in our last lap, we were still strong enough to maintain the lead.
Juan Pablo, let's have that first lap from your point of view.
I think it was pretty good. You know, Michael went for the inside, went for the outside. He, you know, braked quite a bit earlier than me and made a lot of ground. But, you know, when I came out of the chicane, I was a lot tighter than him to make the corner, so I wouldn't hit him and just had better acceleration. First set of tires, it was okay, but my pace wasn't that good. Lost quite a bit of ground. Then in the second thing, we made a lot of ground. And in the last one, we were pretty close, and then cut the traffic. You know, twice I lost a lot of time, and then just after this, you know, a second Jordan drive, and I just lost so much time that I said, you know, just pace myself and get to the end.
So you're saying you actually faced bad driving in traffic, or was it just luck of the draw?
Just, you know, very slow lap markers that didn't move out of the way, put it that way. But, you know, I think it would have been very hard to pass Michael anyway.
Juan Pablo, BMW Williams have been very strong here over the last 2 years. Not quite as strong today, perhaps. How do you put that in relation to the regulation change we've had over the last week or so?
I don't think it's got anything to do with it. It's, you know, this is a track, is the way it looked the last few races. It seems that, you know, Ferrari's in a bit in our position the last few years, that we struggle in most of the races, came here and we're very strong. Where this year is paper swap a little bit, we're still very strong. But, you know, the battle's here, but I believe in the last two races, you know, road courses, you know, it's normal circuits, you know, this is very, you know, low downforce and everything. I think high downforce should be strong again, and, you know, McLaren and Renault should be very strong, and we can make the difference there. You know, it's, I think I came out of here with at least loss possible, you know. I knew if I couldn't win, I had to try to finish second, and I did. I only lost 2 points to Michael, I'm 3 points behind him, and, you know, nothing's over.
Thanks, Juan Pablo. Rubens, you were pretty close to Juan Pablo for a while, but at the end, of course, it was a race almost of defence of third place from Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, to be honest, my first set was the best one. I had a little bit too much understeer to begin with, and I lost time with Trulli. I mean, he seemed to be, he seemed to think that he wanted to pass even Michael at the second chicane. So I lost time, and all of a sudden I almost crashed into him because he had a problem. He slowed down, so I had quite a first lap, and then I was running quite fast. I catch Montoya up, and it was really good. But then since I put my second set of tire, I've never been so competitive. The third one was even worse, and I had a little bit of a problem with the rears, and unfortunately my pace wasn't so fast. It was good enough to hold Kimi, and so I did.
Not quite the quickest Grand Prix ever, by the way, just about a mile an hour too slow, but Montoya did his best to get by Michael Schumacher. I don't know, looking at it throughout the race, I didn't actually spot an opportunity for him to do so.
No, but that's how close it was, you know. It was the aerodynamics against the downforce. It was Bridgestone against Michelin. And Bridgestone have to be congratulated because they've done so much work to change around their tyres, new construction, new compounds to come here at Monza and help Ferrari do this and get this turnaround. You've got to remember that, you know, Williams BMW have come back from nowhere at the beginning of the year. We'd all written them off, and then came Monte Carlo and so on. They've got themselves right back into this struggle.
And they
3 points between
and they remain right in. Of course, you as a genuine racer, you spotted that moment that when Pablo Montoya was talking about there, when he tried to get by Heinz-Harald Frentzen. He was quite magnanimous in the press conference there. Get the feeling you might just have a word with him in private, though, about that.
I think Frentzen should be spoken to. I mean, what Patrick had referred to earlier in the programme, that these guys are fighting for the World Championship. You have got a moral obligation out there as a driver who's not in contention to keep your eye on the mirrors and just move aside. Frentzen just didn't do Montoya any favours whatsoever, but what it did do, it just broke his rhythm. It completely broke him in back. And, you know, the race was gone for him from that point onwards. He could never come back.
That was the moment where, for whatever reason, he said second place will do for me. And, of course, just to remind you, second place means he is still only 3 points behind Michael Schumacher as we head for the Indianapolis and the United States Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. We will be back from Monza to wrap up our coverage of the Italian Grand Prix. Let's conclude our BAR weekend by talking to team boss David Richards. Here he is with Lou.
David, sorry to interrupt your ice cream eating, but a bittersweet day for the team, really.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it. Obviously, the sort of 6th, 7th place was there for the taking, and we don't know yet the cause of Jensen's gearbox problems, but it just got progressively worse. Jacques, by contrast, drove a perfect race, untroubled and unflustered. So, yeah, he must feel pleased with himself.
And those points have secured 5th as we stand at the moment in the championship for you.
Yes, that's right. It's moved us into a clear 5th place, and it makes it more difficult for Toyota to catch up with us now, and it really starts to look like it's between ourselves and Jaguar for that 5th place, and 2 races to go.
Well done.
Thank you.
And just 1 point ahead they are, BAR of Jaguar, in that battle for 5th place. Let's get a Ferrari viewpoint now from Ross Brawn.
Well, Ross, have you ever needed or had a victory so well received as that one?
I probably can't remember one. If I did, I can't remember. That was just unbelievable. I mean, up on the rostrum, I've never seen anything like it. And I think the Tifosi have been suffering with us the last few races, and they were able to enjoy it today. And you know, after the pain comes the pleasure. So that was today.
But really, I mean, how much did you need this afternoon?
Oh, a lot. I mean, in terms of the championship, it would have been difficult if we hadn't put the result in today. And I think we had a few races where we haven't really been competitive, and that's hurt. But you know, you could see today we were competitive, and that's a good sign for the rest of the season.
Seemed to be a lot of brake dust coming off Michael's front brakes. Were you concerned about that?
No, we have telemetry that feeds back to the car. We lost the telemetry for a few laps, but the predictions were all okay. So we didn't have any major concerns. Of course, this is a hard braking circuit. We know in Canada we had problems, but we kept it under control.
Did you ever think Montoya might have got past Michael?
Oh, we had a horrible... I didn't realise Gini was in there. And my first thoughts was Montoya was in front of Michael when he came out of the pits, and Michael thought the same. So we had about 10 seconds of agony before we realised what was going on.
James and Martin thought that as well, actually.
Yeah, I don't blame them, because I just didn't realise where Gini had come from.
Well done, Ross.
Fool them all. We'll reconvene in a couple of weeks' time. Look forward to it, to Indianapolis. Be sure to keep in touch on the very popular ITV F1 website, and you can chat live to Martin Brundle, 12:30 Wednesday lunchtime. And Mark is in the frame for Ask the Team. There will be more reaction and analysis from Monza in our highlight show tonight, 11:20 ITV1, repeated ITV2, 7:35 tomorrow. Can't wait for it. Next, the American Grand Prix, qualifying 1 just before midnight on the Friday, qualifying 2 after the Premiership on the Saturday. The Grand Prix, a great time for it, live on Sunday evening. Join us from 6:15, and be sure to make a date as well this Saturday afternoon, the Goodwood Revival meeting. That is now on at 2 o'clock, ITV1 on Saturday. Tuesday night, curtain up for the UEFA Champions League.
Tuesday night is Champions League night on ITV, and it all starts again next week. We'll take you to the heart of the action, bringing you the biggest games played by the biggest names. Starting this Tuesday, join ITV2 from 7 o'clock for all the big match build-up. At 7:30, make your choice. On ITV1, Premiership champions Manchester United start their campaign against Panathinaikos. On ITV2, it's the most talked-about team in Europe, Chelsea, back in the big time against Sparta Prague. And for our Scottish viewers, champions Rangers take on Stuttgart at Ibrox. Highlights from all the evening's matches, including David Beckham's Real Madrid on ITV1 at 11:15, completing a Tuesday night football feast here on ITV.
AC Milan, round the corner from Monza, are champions of Europe. Ferrari and Michael Schumacher have kicked back in great style in their efforts to stay on top of the F1 world. Bye-bye.